It is Monday the 3rd of June, and in today's video we will be going over the heartbreaking news that Jason Doyle has been ruled out for the remainder of the 2024 season with injury. Jason crashed while participating in a Witches away meeting at the Adrian Flux Arena last week as the 2023 league runners-up faced off against their local rivals, the Kings Lynn Stars. Jason was carted off to hospital, and it was later stated that the Aussie had sustained cracked ribs, a contusion to the lung and a sore shoulder. This left the fanbase optimistic that after a few days' rest, he would be back in action. Then, on Saturday morning, Doyle posted a video going into further detail about the injury to his shoulder. It turns out that the damage was much worse than anybody had first anticipated, with Jason suffering from 2 rotator cuff tears. Now, I'm not comparing myself to these Speedway warriors, but I tore my rotator cuff and had an anterior dislocation of the shoulder at the beginning of January whilst doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I still have discomfort and limited mobility in my shoulder today, 5 months after the incident happened. Jason's surgery is scheduled to begin tomorrow on Tuesday the 4th of June, and he will likely be rehabilitating all the way up until the start of next season. Without the proper surgery and aftercare, it's injuries like this that could leave Jason with irreversible damage and potentially draw the curtains early on his career. This is absolutely devastating news. Jason has had an incredible start to 2024 with both his league racing and his World Championship campaign. But sadly, this is just another cruel reminder of how dangerous Speedway can be. Not only has Jason been one of the most consistent point bankers in the Royal Premiership over the last few seasons, but his close relationship with Chris Louis and the team at Ipswich is unrivaled in British League racing. His unwilling departure from the Witches side this year leaves some absolutely enormous boots to fill. With Doyle having been well in the race for the 2024 Speedway World Championship, the commercial value of the Aussie is as high as it's ever been. Losing Doyle from the Premiership is a huge blow to British Speedway as a whole. But I'm sure he'll be back in the Ipswich side once again in 2025 when he's fully recovered from his injuries. At the time of the injury, the only other 2 riders that were packing such a punch on the global Speedway scene were fellow national teammate Jack Holder and Polish superstar Bartosz Zmarzlik. So, who could replace Jason Doyle at Ipswich for the remainder of the 2024 season? Don't say it, Carl. Don't say it, Carl. Don't say it. I would be very interested to know if the Ipswich promotional team have even humoured a conversation with Team Zmarzlik. When it comes to enticing international superstars back to good old Blighty, nobody in the top division has made a statement quite like the Witches, having brought both Jason Doyle and Emil Sayfutdinov back to British League racing. So who would even come close to filling Doyley's boots? Zmarzlik? Lambert? Vasilik? Mikkelsen? Cabrera? Madsen? Someone who will be undoubtedly taking Jason Doyle's place will be fellow countryman Max Fricke. With Max being the first official Grand Prix reserve, he will now be elevated into a full-time contender for the rest of the 2024 campaign. Although losing Doyle is a huge blow to the Australian SGP followers, at least he's been replaced by another exceptionally credible and able rider from the same nation. There's been a slight bit of confusion online of how this will affect both riders, swapping places with over 25% of the World Championship having already been completed. I saw one suggestion online that said that Max Fricke should be scoring points to add to Jason Doyle's tally. Now I know that Speedway fans can come out with some absolutely shocking ideas at times, but this has to be one of the most bizarre things I've ever read from the fanbase. 4th to 6th place in the championship is tied 3 ways, with all 3 riders being on 47 points. This is an average of 11.75 points per Grand Prix, or a finishing spot of 5th or 6th place consistently. Should the average result of Vasilik and Mikkelsen remain consistent, Fricke would have to average out in 2nd place in the remaining 7 rounds of the series in order to catch up with the top 6 contenders and guarantee himself a place in the 2025 season. So yeah, to say that Max Fricke is at a heavy mathematical disadvantage would be an understatement to say the least. However, if Max can consistently make semi-finals and finals, he really would put himself into an amazing position to be picked for a wildcard next year. Max has had a fantastic start to his late launching Speedway Grand Prix campaign, and I feel he was unlucky to not make his way through to the final, but I'm sure he will be happy with the result and be ready to go again in Melilla in 2 weeks' time. How do you think Max will get on in the Speedway Grand Prix this year? And who do you think could be replacing Doyle at Ipswich? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to click thumbs up and subscribe to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.